The gatekeeper role. So because all waste arrives at the FEP and is inspected, I'd argue that it provides a pretty critical role to ensuring that people have an incentive to divert materials from their black bag. So as Ken mentioned, in Nova Scotia, what really drives a lot of the activities that HRM and other municipalities are involved in are the material bans. And the Nova Scotia government was particularly progressive when they got these bans in place back in the 1990s. A lot of other provinces across Canada have continued to kind of meander in this respect. You know, do the best you can, try to compost, try to recycle, but don't knock yourself out. In Nova Scotia, they basically said, forget making judgment calls on this. These materials are banned. And in doing so, they've come up with an explicit list of materials, compostables, recyclables, e-waste, tires, corrugated cardboard. It's a long list that is banned from landfill. So municipalities are obliged to put systems in place to make that happen. So with the FEP component, where that waste is placed on a tipping floor, there is a very advanced and ideal opportunity to review loads to make sure that they don't have these prohibited materials within. And it's a role that the folks at MIR take pretty seriously in terms of making sure that people who don't abide by the rules are held accountable. So from 2008 to 2012, there were an annual average of 612 warnings provided to collectors and 40 out-and-out rejections. And in the case of a rejection, the implications are pretty significant if you're a collector. Basically, if your load is rejected, the load is placed back on your vehicle, it has to be removed from the site, the prohibited materials have to be removed from the load, and then you have to return back to Otter Lake. So if you're in the business of time and money, that the collection industry is, that's a pretty expensive consequence to showing up with a mixed load. So what does that do? Well, it makes the collectors doubly interested in encouraging their clients to do the right thing at the point of generation, to have the right containers, to be separating organics and recyclables, and to educate their clients. Now, without that gatekeeper role, without that concern that we're going to have this load scrutinized, guys, we don't want to have to go through the trouble of being rejected and sorting through this load, I think it's safe to say you're going to see an increase. We saw those photos a few minutes ago, but you'll see an increase in the amount of recyclables, organics, hazardous materials, and other banned items showing up in mixed loads.